History is full of stories that sound completely made up, but every single one of them is true. Today, we're breaking down 10 of the strangest, most surprising facts you've probably never heard.
10 facts. 10 moments in history that seem impossible. From emperors to wars to a tower that actually grows. Let's see how many you already know. A short emperor who wasn't short. A war that ended in minutes. A university older than an empire. And a tower that literally grows in the heat. Ready? Let's start with fact number 1. Fact number 1. You've heard people call Napoleon short. It's practically a joke at this point. But here's the twist. He wasn't short at all. In French units at the time, he was measured at 5'2". But French inches were longer than British inches. Convert it properly, and Napoleon stood about 5'7". Right. So where did the short joke come from? British propaganda. Cartoonists at the time drew him tiny on purpose to mock and humiliate him, and the joke simply stuck. Napoleon wasn't short. He was just really good at making enemies with pens. 1 down, 9 to go. Next up, a war so short, it barely had time to start. Fact number 2. Wars can drag on for years, decades even. But in 1896, one war ended in less time than it takes to watch this video. This was the Anglo-Zanzibar War. Britain gave Zanzibar an ultimatum, it was ignored, and the British Navy opened fire on the royal palace. 38 minutes later, it was over. The shortest war ever recorded, from first shot to surrender. To put that in perspective, you've probably spent longer than that scrolling on your phone today.
2 down. Now let's talk about a university that's older than an entire empire.
Fact number 3. Some things in history feel ancient, and others feel almost modern. But sometimes they're the exact opposite of what you'd expect.
Teaching at Oxford University began all the way back in 1096. That's nearly 1,000 years ago. Now compare that to the Aztec Empire, which wasn't founded until 1428. Oxford was already teaching students for over 300 years before the Aztec Empire even existed. 32 years. That's the gap. That's the gap. Sometimes the ancient thing is actually younger than you'd think.
3 down. And speaking of time gaps, wait until you hear about Cleopatra.
Fact number 4. This one breaks people's brains every time they hear it. Cleopatra and the pyramids. The Great Pyramid of Giza was built around 2560 BC. That's the deep, ancient past, even to Cleopatra. Cleopatra lived around 30 BC, nearly 2,500 years after the pyramid was built. That gap alone is bigger than most entire civilizations.
Now here's the twist. The moon landing happened in 1969, only about 2,000 years after Cleopatra, which means she lived closer in time to astronauts than to the pyramid builders.
4 down. Next, let's talk about Vikings and the horned helmets they never actually wore. Fact number 5. Picture a Viking. Chances are you just imagined horns on their helmet. It's one of the most famous images in history, and it's completely wrong. No actual Viking helmet with horns has ever been found by archaeologists. Not one in over a century of digging. The myth actually comes from the 1800s. Costume designers for Viking-themed operas added horns purely for dramatic effect. Audiences loved it, and the image just stuck around forever. Real Vikings wore simple, practical helmets. No horns needed. They were terrifying enough without the decoration. 5 down, halfway there. Next up, ancient Egypt, and how seriously they took their cats. Fact number 6. Ancient Egyptians didn't just like cats. They basically worshipped them. And when a household cat died, the mourning process was intense. When a beloved cat passed away, the entire household would shave off their eyebrows as a visible sign of grief. The mourning period lasted until the eyebrows grew back. Some cats were even mummified and buried with tiny treasures, just like royalty.
6 down. Now for one of the strangest military stories ever. Australia's war against emus. Fact number 7. In 1932, the Australian military was sent out to deal with a growing problem. Not an enemy army, emus. Thousands of emus were destroying crops across Western Australia, so soldiers were sent in with machine guns to control the population. It did not go as planned. The emus were simply too fast, too scattered, and too clever. After a few weeks, the military gave up. Officially, the emus won. To this day, it's remembered as one of the most one-sided defeats in military history. And the other side didn't even have weapons. 7 down. Next, the scientist who was offered the chance to lead an entire country. Fact number 8. We know Einstein as one of history's greatest scientific minds. But in 1952, he was offered a completely different job. After Israel's first president died, the government offered Einstein the position because he was famous and respected around the world. He turned it down. Einstein said he simply didn't have the right temperament for politics. He'd rather spend his time thinking about the universe. 8 down. Now, a famous tower that actually changes size with the seasons. Fact number 9. The Eiffel Tower has stood in Paris for over 100 years, but it isn't exactly the same size every single day. The tower is made almost entirely of iron, and iron expands when it heats up. In the summer sun, the structure can grow by as much as 6 inches. In the cold winter months, it shrinks right back down. So technically, the most famous landmark in Paris is quietly growing and shrinking every single year. 9 down. One fact left, and it involves a war with a very misleading name. Fact number 10, our final one. The 100 Years' War is one of the most famous conflicts in history. There's just one small problem with the name. It started in 1337, between England and France, mainly over who had the right to the French throne. It didn't end after 100 years. It actually lasted 116 years, ending in 1453. The name was just rounded for convenience. And that's all 10. 10 facts spanning thousands of years, proving that the true stories are often stranger than anything we could make up. History still hides countless unbelievable stories, and we've only scratched the surface. Which fact surprised you the most? Let us know, and we'll see you in the next one.